Hey fam, if it is Wednesday, it is Wine Lovers Wednesday, and this is Leslie, and I'm so happy to be with you guys today. Um, I am with, I'd like to say, an old friend and someone who has been a huge supporter of not only me, but other females in the wine world, other Black winemakers. Just always, I have to say, always very encouraging of everyone who is there. And this is the type of person that you definitely want to know. In addition, you want to have her wines. So, and that's the bonus. But just a genuine good person to call a wine friend. So with that being said, I would like to introduce Ms. Sip and Share Wines, Nicole Kearney. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Wine Lovers Wednesday. Say hello, please.
Hello, and happy Wines Day. I was just thinking, wow, we met officially Richmond, Virginia. Was it 2017?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
It's like it's I always say this to Sarita. I said, Beyonce didn't become Beyonce until 20 years later. So
There it is. There it is.
everybody think Beyonce was Beyonce overnight. No, Beyonce been doing that since she's 12.
That's right. That's right. It's taken us time, but we will be an overnight, not an overnight sensation. We'll be a household name soon, soon,
Exactly.
soon. Yes.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you are
We're
Forbes.
getting there. We're getting there.
Look, don't look. Let's not sleep on Forbes magazine, okay?
I like to say, we got an ebony too, because,
There you go.
for us, that's like a big thing. Like,
Yes, it is. It is. It's like you remember when Ebony used to come in the mail
yes.
and you couldn't I couldn't read it into my mother.
Right,
Like read it.
exactly. And then it was going to be on the table. And
Yes.
that's how you knew you could read it, when it was going to be on the table. And then
Yes.
you knew it was your turn. So
Yes.
for me, that the level of excitement, and in my family, because they just, that was it. Forbes, they were like, yeah, that's it. Ebony, they were
Right.
like,
Right.
yeah, it was like grandma, everybody texting. And I'm like, your people will let you know. They will keep you on the ground at
Yes.
all times. They're like, we don't
Definitely.
know nothing about that Forbes thing, but that ebony, yes, yes.
There you go. So for those who have not had the pleasure of meeting you, please tell everyone who you are.
So I'm Nicole Kearney. I'm the winemaker and founder of Sip and Share Wines, and we're a boutique vegan winery. We're based in Indianapolis, Indiana. So for geography's sake, we're 3 hours south of Chicago, 2 hours north of Kentucky, 2 hours from Cincinnati. So just to give you, we're in the middle of the country. And we have been around as a business since 2016. We started out repping other Black and women winemakers. And then in 2018, we became a winery. 2019 released our first collection, and we've been going strong ever since.
Yeah. So your background, so there's two types of people in the wine world. Mm-hmm. Those who have started from in vitro, and then those who have pursued a career, a real life, big life career, and then said, hey, let me move over there.
Yeah.
So you have a big time career, master's degree.
Oh yeah.
Up, and then you moved into wine. So how did that happen?
So I was in graduate school. So I went to graduate school as an adult, and always had an affinity for wine. And so one day we were talking. One of my fellow graduate school students. So I'm a writer and a college professor by trade. And so one of our fellow students was also into wine and, bartended. Now he works in a wine bar in North Carolina. And so we were just talking, and he was like, hey, everybody should bring some wine to the table and explain why. So that was like the first time the light bulb went off on my head. Are there Black winemakers? So we're talking 2000, between 2008, 2010.
Okay.
And there were about 30 Black winemakers you could find online. So I was like, I want to meet all of these people. Like, I want to figure out like how to meet them and taste their wine. So it took me like a couple more years before that came to fruition. And that's how we met. I was like, I found Benita Johnson, the Vine Wine Club
Yeah.
online. And she blessedly took like 2 hours of her time, like about 2 weeks before her event. Talked to me, just shared all these things, told me how I could get into the business. Because I was trying to get people to call me back. They wouldn't. And I was like, I'm going to come see you. And I was like, I'll be at the event. And I know she was like, whatever, girl. Okay. And I showed up and she was like, what? I was buying my ticket and everything while we talked. And that just kind of got me into the business. I met so many Black winemakers, got to taste the wine, and I was hooked. I was like, I'm going to be in this business and I want everybody else to know about these fantastic Black winemakers. And so I still kept, my regular, what I was doing. And then I just started doing this on the side. And then I always made sangria. So that we kind of made that and took that out to festivals. But that's really what got us in this game. And I continued to teach and I do a lot of community engagement work for neighborhoods. I did that up until 2019. Had I known, y'all, there was going to be a pandemic, I left my last paying job in November of 2019, right after Thanksgiving. If I had known there was a pandemic, I might have stayed, y'all. I might have stayed. and my boss that I was working for did not want me to leave. But I was like, I need to do it. I need to just step out on faith and walk this thing out. And so, yeah, here, January 2020, we were ready. We were ready for all the good stuff. And then the next thing I know, pandemic. Right. Yeah. We were like, but we made it. We made it. So blessedly. Yes. So
yeah. So you have, okay, so I'm going to show everyone. This is one
so beautiful.
What the green is very striking. Like, I like the other labels, but the green, it stands out. So Gratitude is one of the wines in our spring collection, and which I like to call Women Run the Vineyard, because it's all girl power, it's women power. 24 wines, all about women. So this one is in our collection. Can you tell people about it? And I poured me a little something.
Okay. I had some before I came on.
Not a problem.
Right. So our Gratitude, it's a red blend. So it is Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. So it's a 50-50 blend. We do put it in oak for just a short period of time, not a long period of time, about 6 months. So you do get a little bit of that oak flavor. So a little bit, that I call vanilla, cinnamon. I always think oak has cinnamon. A lot of people don't, but I get cinnamon from it. Sometimes a little vanilla in the flavoring. And so it's one of my favorite wines. This is my go-to, like, at night. I'm going to watch Netflix and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's my favorite all-time pairing with this. And so it is just a really good, I say it's a good wine by itself, but also really good with food. So you can drink it by itself, but it's enhanced if you're going to put a steak, or if you're going to put, people do, my brother, all our wine is vegan. So my brother makes mushroom steaks. And so that's his thing to have with it, or any red pasta. I like pizza, so I'll eat it with pizza as well. So it's usually my pizza wine. So it's just a really fun wine, not highly tannic. And it's just going to be what I think to me, I think it's a crowd pleaser, but everybody's like, everybody has a different palate.
When I tasted it first and then smelled it. But when I first tasted it, like cherry immediately, like it just jumps out at you. And I'm going to say this and then clarify what I'm saying. The sweetness of the fruit, not the wine, of the fruit, automatically hits my palate. And then I get those secondary flavors of the oak. Did you use like new French oak or American oak? Was it?
American. Yeah, we
Mm-hmm,
do new American. I know people like French, but um, y'all with all these tariffs and everything that was going on, I'm like, we need to just stick to everything American and
mm-hmm,
everything we can get right at home. So we use new American oak. And that way, again, because you don't have to do long term, because it's going to hit it, the contact, it just, we know we can do about 3 to 6 months, and boom,
mm-hmm.
we know it's going to be just what we need. And then boom, we can take it out, put it in stainless steel to store it, or go ahead and just bottle it up and let it age in the bottle.
Yeah, you do get that oak over there. You do get vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
I always get caramel. I don't know what is
Yeah,
it.
I say caramel or honey, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
people say honey, but
Yeah,
I think oak barrels, specifically American, give it a caramel taste, and I like that. I mean that is winemaker preference. That's not customer
right.
preference, and I
Mm-hmm.
like that. I just like that, like you said, built with the fruit, and so I think that gives it this. I forgot what the candy is that used to be able to get the used to be the caramel candy, and it had like fruit in it. Y'all, my family's from the South. So but it just reminds me of that. It just reminds me of that. And then the Werthers, it always
Yeah,
reminds me of some
it's
good
like a
old
little
Werthers.
butterscotch.
Yes, yes. So that's just always been like, so that's why I think I enjoy it so much, because it reminds me of back south at home,
Mm-hmm.
sitting with my great grandmother, and she was gonna have, in her purse, she was gonna have some of them Werthers. Like, go
Yes.
on and get them Werthers, baby.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, it is not overly tannic. Is it mostly Merlot, or is it 50-50
It
Merlot?
is 50-50.
It's
Yep,
50-50?
yep, yep. But
Yeah.
we try to make sure that we dampen those tannins, because, again, black and brown people, we are not. We didn't. Most of us don't have generational wine, history.
Yes.
So we're
Mm-hmm.
coming into it. Many of us in our, I would say, late 20s, early 30s, and so most people say, "I will not drink a red wine," and everybody doesn't know what it is. They just say, "It does something back here."
Right.
That's
Right.
and that's most people. I won't even say black people. That's most people, like
Uh-huh.
red wine. It does something back here. So we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make sure we smooth the tannins out, because we specifically are making wine. It's accessible to all palates, but specifically we think about black and brown palates
Right.
first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it is drinkable now. So,
Mhm.
wine club members, when you get your wine, drink this wine now. It,
Yes.
it is meant to be drank now. I think it's kind of funny when people are like, "Oh, I bought this wine in like 2000." It's like, it may not be good.
I know, and I just had this conversation with someone, and I'm like, so 3 years. They were like, is the wine only good for 3 years? Yeah, really, it is. But I hear people, and I'm like, yeah, you hear that, but I tell people there was a man who bought, I think it was like a $2,000 bottle of wine for he and his wife. It was going to be for like 10-year anniversary. They had probably already been married 5 or 6 years, and 10 or 15 something. And he held it, and they opened it, and it was horrible. And so I tell
Yeah.
people, it's it's not really made, and that's not what wine is for. I mean, yes, my
Hmm.
partner says I have a museum. um, but so but during the pandemic, we made good waste of that museum. But
Hmm.
I do have some things that I hold on to for sentimental value. Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna drink this. I opened a bottle, oh my gosh, of 2014 Petite Syrah from Theopolis Vineyard.
Ooh.
I didn't mean to, yeah. And I should have opened it with my Corvin. And I
Hmm.
opened it up, and then
Hmm.
I realized, and then I was on a live with Queen Cleopatra, and she was like, there is no more. Y'all, I finished the
Oh.
bottle, but I cried because I was like, I
Hmm.
could have still had that. So
Right.
things like
Right.
that I
Right.
know, that especially black winemakers are only, it's done. I will hold on to that because I don't plan to open it. I just plan to have it. So that's in
Right.
my
Right.
museum. But most of the stuff I get and I drink it.
Yeah, you should, unless it's like high acid,
Right.
high tannin, where
Hmm.
it it's going to age well, it's going to break down in the bottle. But most wine that you purchase at your local wine store, what have you, it's made to be drunk now, or 3, maybe 5 years, if it's one of those high tannic varietals that is the case. But for most of them, you should drink this now. And something like as good as this, you want to drink it now.
Right.
Yeah, you want to drink it now. And it is one of those standalone, like today in the DMV area, it's rainy and what have you. This is like perfect turn on the heater situation, and it warms you up and it's flavorful. So yeah, it is that type of thing. What is the weather like there in Indiana?
So we're about 50 and it is sunny. So that is good.
Nice.
Because my team is outside, and I did not know our event tonight was outside. So I was like, bring jackets. And yeah, so when I get done with you, I'm literally going to take them hats. They were like, can you bring us hats back? I was like, I can do that. But yeah, it is nice. We've had pretty nice weather. So I'm excited. I'm like, spring is almost here, y'all. Almost.
Yeah. Yeah. I have been it's hitting the pollen. My eyes have I have not put on any makeup, so I'm sorry to frighten the fam out there today. Because it's just the itchiness, the what have you. So I want to talk about you being a winemaker in Indiana. And definitely Sip and Share is experiencing a lot of success. I know a whole lot of hard work has gone into it, which is very interesting because you're not in the capital of wine world. You're not in Sonoma, you're not in Napa or what have you. How do you attribute that? Like when you tell people, "Oh, we're out of Indiana."
I know people always are like, "What?" So we do use grapes out of Lodi. So I told Pepe that we do use California fruit, but we do all the work in-house in Indianapolis. And part of it was that there was only one Black winemaker in Indiana. And now he has now transitioned on. But and I used to talk to him and buy his wine. And I was just like, but why aren't there any others? And so there's a lot of folks I know that are making wine, but they were like, oh, I'm just doing it for a hobby. So I was just like, we need to be on the map too. And we as in Black people and Black women can make wines that aren't, that are across the spectrum from sweet to dry. And we can make a good quality product. And that's what I wanted to do. And I wanted to make wine that centered Black and brown people while we welcome everyone. And that's my really specific mission is we use wine really to create community and bring people to the table of, all this kind of, disparate backgrounds. And so I say wine, if people really want to talk about diversity, inclusion, and equity, have wine at the table. That's all you need. That's all you need. And it's you're going to figure out real quick who's sitting at that table. A couple glasses of wine, you're going to know whether this is somebody you really want to get down with, or these are folks and this is what their viewpoints are that are opposed to you. So I think wine is a true equalizer. And because I live in a place where I say Indiana is like Georgia. You have Atlanta and then you have Georgia. We have Indianapolis and then we have Indiana.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't quite catch that analogy, most of the Black folks live in Indianapolis, and we got some that live further up north, Hammond, Gary. But Indianapolis has the majority of the Black people. Just like when you go to Georgia and everybody talk about how Black it is, that's just Atlanta, y'all. That's just Atlanta. Like go a little bit further south and you will remember and get told real quick, you are in the South. So I wanted to also give us something in the Midwest, but also show that good wine can be made anywhere. It doesn't have to be in that California region or Finger Lakes or places we think of as Oregon as traditional wine regions.
Yeah, it's funny. You could use that same analogy about the DMV. Like we are in Pretty Girl County, Prince George's County, and then there's Maryland.
And then there's Maryland.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? Okay, so I'm gonna have to slightly disagree with you on how wine is the equalizer. And
okay,
up until a month ago, or maybe 2 months ago, I would have agreed with you. But I was at this conference, and we were talking about business women, specifically Black business women, at the higher levels.
Oh.
And we were talking about how wine actually can be used as a subtle aggression
Yes.
to divide people.
Yes. Yes. Okay,
And
I will agree with that. Yes.
and it did not occur to me because that's my profession, right? Like, I may not, look, first of all, I don't know everything about wine.
Right.
I don't know all of the villages. My accent, but I understand the fundamentals of wine, and I can, figure it out in a conversation. And so someone said, I didn't know anything about wine, and I still don't. And when my colleagues start talking about wine, and the running joke was they talk about the tannin. I didn't know what a tannin was. And the wine, I didn't always feel comfortable in that conversation. And so, yes, people can sit down and enjoy a glass of wine, and then people will start talking, and you can see where they lie. But if you use wine as a socializing, networking tool, and you're talking about, people like to refer to the legs, and I'm like, please don't do that. The legs and the body, or what have you. And those, like you said earlier, where in Black and brown houses, we didn't necessarily grow up talking about prime wine. We may have talked about whiskey or spirits or that type of thing. Then that becomes another microaggression to weed you out of the conversation.
You know what? I'm going to wholeheartedly agree with you, and I will backtrack my statement because we created Sip and Share Wines from, I would say, the microaggressions in the wine industry. Because when I started showing up to drink wine, people were like, "Oh, so do you want so and so?" And I'm like, "No, I don't drink that. So I want this." Which is usually going to be, a cab or a nice bold red or Shiraz. And so people already put you in a specific place. And I go like to the same couple places I taste, and people were like, "Oh, okay." So people start really checking your palate. And then, like you said, they start asking you questions. And I never said what I did. I'm here to drink wine. Like, I'm just here to do that. But I started calling my people and like, "Yo, I need y'all to roll up to this tasting because these folks is acting shady." So then you start bringing your people, and not everybody knows about wine, but they know what they like, and they know enough to like speak. But then my friends started speaking for me. They were like, "Oh, wait a minute. Our friend got wine certifications and stuff. She does this. Oh, she makes wine." And people are like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And so it changes the conversation with people.
Yes.
But you're right. There are some real, and tell people, quit talking about the legs. My biggest thing, with people with wine, not even the legs, is when I watch a show, and I think you all have talked about this on the Swirl Suite, and folks are holding the wine glass wrong. Y'all couldn't have called nobody. Y'all couldn't have called nobody. Like, all this money on the budget, and y'all couldn't have called nobody.
Right.
I'm like, if Olivia Pope holds that glass by the bowl one more time,
yes,
I'm just gonna boycott the show. But those are things that even when you're out with, I call mixed company, they are looking for those small things, and then to make that comment to you. So yes, wine can be, and I shouldn't say equalize. It can be, it will bring people together.
Right.
And then you can see who's what, but people will use it as a microaggression against you. And like I tell people, like we said, I don't know everything about wine. I know what I want to know. And I know enough for me to navigate what I want to navigate in wine. And then I want to give that out to people so they can have, enough information to move around wine successfully. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a sommelier. Like, that's just not my personal goal, only
Right.
because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to work in the true sense of a sommelier. I'm not going
In
to
the
work in
restaurant.
a
Yeah.
restaurant.
Yes. I
So,
get it.
but I am a wine educator, and
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have fun with it. And so to me, wine has been made to be elitist, and
Yeah.
it is used as a power struggle. It is used as classism. It is used
Mm-hmm.
as sexism. And Sip and Share Wines, we are here to have some fun, y'all, because Black people like to drink wine and kiki. That's what we gonna do. You got 2 minutes, 2 minutes to tell us about the wine before we just start talking over you.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
We're gonna let you tell. So you better figure out how to tell me about that
Right.
wine in
Right.
2 minutes. And then go on and let me and my friends kiki. And don't be getting mad, and don't be trying to put us out of no place. So, but I've gone to
Nicole,
places.
you sound like you speak from experience.
I do. I've gone places with my friends, and folks are really mad. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, so it's the cultural difference. And I
Yes.
understand that. I'm gonna give you just enough so you got the information. If you want to call me later, chop it up, that's fine. But and that's just people in general, but
Right.
culturally, we have a cultural difference, because when we get together, ours is about love, checking on one another. I just had this conversation with a sister last night, and
Mm-hmm.
we are doing a different type of thing when we are gathering. Ours is more a check-in, like, Leslie, sis, how you doing? Like, what's going on?
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
So it's not the, I want to know, where the terroir is. No, this is some good wine. This is good. It's going to get me where I need to go. But girl, what's going on? You called me last night.
Yes.
So it's, for us, it's the socialization. And I think that's why we're about creating the community with wine. That's really what Sip
Mm-hmm.
and Share is about. We just do it with wine. But y'all, I know y'all gonna kiki, and I know y'all gonna drive them
Yes.
white folks crazy. I'm just gonna say it. Ooh, because they be looking at me in my group. My partner in wine and partner in life will not go to a non-Black wine tasting with our group ever again. And I'm talking about, my group is lawyers, professors,
Uh-huh.
doctors. And when I mean
Mm-hmm.
doctor, I mean like they gonna cut you open, and some PhDs. And he refuses. He was like, y'all acted up. He refuses to go with us because we're
Yeah.
coming to kiki.
Yeah. Well, like, the Facebook comments are like, yes, I love it. Yes. It is true. It is true. And you know what? I posted earlier the show Grand Crew. I
Grand
don't know if
Crew.
you saw the episode last night.
I didn't. I just started watching that show. I just started watching it the other night. Oop, sorry, I'm looking for
Oh,
my
not a
phone.
problem. They do such a great job of normalizing wine and the whole experience. And then you just have to watch the opener, because the opener is on orange wine. And then
Oh,
they talk about how, they always, I love how they like build in the educational component. And they're like, so orange wine is a little funky, and the flavor is different. And so then they start tasting it, and they're like, funky, yeah, funky.
right. And that's
That
what we
is
gonna
it.
do.
Yes.
That is who
Yes.
we got a song for everything too. And so, I just started watching that because like 5 people were like, "You haven't watched it." I was like, "No, I had like 3 series I needed to finish on Netflix." And so I was like, I loved it, and so I'm like, "This is my show," and I think we seen us, and I love the setting of the where they're going,
Yes.
the
Mm-hmm.
beauty of. I need to find out where is that, because I know it's a real location. So
Oh,
I
is it
want to
really? I
know.
didn't
It,
realize that.
I think it's gotta be, because the way it's like, it looks like it. So I need to dig around, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that is just that's us. I mean, in
That is.
all our culturalism and complexity, it's just who we are.
Yeah,
It's who
it
we
is.
are.
It is. So, okay, so you were, well, you are forever a professor, forever a teacher, what have you. And so when you decided, okay, I'm going to do this,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make wine. why did you decide to make vegan wine? And for those who are the uninitiated, please explain to people the difference between organic, sustainable, and vegan.
Okay, so I make vegan wine because my family and friends are vegan. And so when I started on this journey, we were just talking and they were like, it's so hard to just go buy a wine off the shelf that they could drink. You know, they knew there was a couple red wines, and a lot of them are what I would call lower price point brands. And so they were like,
Right.
but we want to drink something better
Mm-hmm.
or higher on a price point
Okay.
brand. So I was like, oh, that's easy. So most wines are cleared with animal byproducts. So you get, it could be egg whites are the most, or egg protein are the
Right.
most common,
Mm-hmm.
commonly used, but it could be crustaceans, it could be some pork gelatin, milk protein. So all of those things are animal byproducts. They had a mother, and we use clay. And that literally was a choice because my family was like, I was trying to get a lot of my family members off spirits, and most
Mm-hmm.
spirits are vegan. And so that's why they were drinking it. And we're also
Mm-hmm.
tequila. We drink a lot of tequila. So yeah, I was like, let me give them something that's good quality that they can drink that is vegan. So
And
yeah,
can I stop you right?
yeah.
Can
Yep.
I stop you right there? So when you talk about finishing,
Yes.
okay, and stop me here. When you talk about finishing, after the wine has fermented,
Yes.
it and you're ready to bottle it,
Mm-hmm.
it is a little, it may be a little cloudy
Yes.
because of the yeast that is
Yeast.
left
Yep.
there, what have you. And so finishing it is filtering those things that are
Yep.
left over in the fermentation process. Am I
Yes.
correct
So it
there?
gives you the clarity. So, like, if you
Yes.
will hold your glass up, when we buy wine, we want our wine to be this clear, pretty, and
Right.
that's what so we call it fining or clearing the wine, and that is exactly what we're doing. And unless it's organic wine
Mm-hmm.
or an unfiltered wine where it's going to be clear, and I think Theodora makes one of her wines is uncleared, and so that's one of the differences. But yeah, that's what we do. We just use clay in the process before we actually bottle it to clear it.
Okay. Yeah, I just because when people hear
Yeah.
that, they're not exactly sure. Like the opposite of this would be often pet nets
Yes.
are
Mm-hmm.
not finished. So when
Yep.
you buy the sparkling, it might have a little junk in the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
When you it's
And
nothing wrong with it. It's just
nothing
got
wrong with it.
it's nothing wrong with it. And many natural wines don't always go through that finishing
Right.
process. Yeah.
And they do, like you said, taste a little different. So
Mm-hmm.
it is preference. I always say it
Right.
is
Right.
drinker preference. And you know, most of us like clearer wine. There are some wines that I will drink that are natural wines that I like. But there are a lot that just they don't go with my taste buds. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll skip. But I try them, especially if they're sparkling, because I love some good
Right.
bubbles.
Yeah.
So
Right. Right.
I'm gonna try all of them on the market. I'm like, even if I don't like them, I'm gonna get them, and you could do something else with them, make them into a cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
But
This is true.
yeah. So don't throw it away. Don't just pour it down the drain. Y'all make it into a cocktail, because that's what the first thing people do. They're like, "Oh, I didn't like it, and I poured it out." I'm like, "What? What? You just paid your
Yeah.
money to pour something out?" You can always just go to Google. How do I make this in a cocktail? And it'll give you
Mm-hmm.
some ingredients, and you can enjoy that wine.
Yes. Yes. So you use clay
Mm-hmm.
to finish the wine. And so that's what makes it vegan.
Right. And so the
Mm-hmm.
science is it binds to the proteins and anything else, like you said, left the yeast, and then it drops to the bottom of the tank. And this is also true for anything that's an animal byproduct. So it does drop to the bottom of the tank. And then when you actually bottle the wine, you're not getting that in there. You could, I won't say you're not. There could be, because sometimes, especially in red wine, there's going to be either usually sediment when you
Mm-hmm.
get to the bottom, but typically you're not getting a lot of it. But if you're vegan, you want nothing that had a mother. you
So do
know,
you get the crystals? You know, what is it? The Terra
check it. Yep, that.
that okay.
Crystals.
do do those little crystals, or they call them diamonds,
Right.
form when you use instead you use a vegan method of finishing it?
We haven't had any. So that's a
Okay.
good question because that is interesting. We've never had any. But I just pulled out a rosé out of my wine fridge and it did have some. So that is interesting. And I know it's not a vegan rosé.
Okay.
But that is an interesting question. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I was curious. I was curious about
yeah.
that if you got that sediment in there. Okay, so then vegan is the winemaking process.
Right, is the winemaking process. So when you get
So
into
organic,
organic
yes.
and sustainable is all the way to the farm.
Mhm,
So you can go down to did they use fertilizer to animal fertilizer to
mhm.
fertilize the vines. So that is a whole nother process. And so and there are people like are I won't say that deep that is part of their particular life choices.
Okay.
Yeah, and so yeah, so that is a whole different thing. And when they say it's
Mhm.
organic, it organic it again is a I won't say organic again is a farming practice. So
Right.
organic is a
Mhm.
farming practice, sustainability is also a farming practice. Vegan is typically a winemaking practice. So that's
Mhm.
how I usually separate those.
And it's easier for you to control, especially since you're purchasing many of your grapes from Lodi,
Right.
to control that process than necessarily the farming process.
Exactly, because we're not
Mhm.
doing the farming, but we could choose. I mean, we could go and say we want an organic, sustainable farm, which I probably in the next 5 to 10 years, I think almost every farm in California is going to be organic, or if not organic, it definitely be sustainable because that's just what's happening around the country. And climate change is going to
Yeah,
force it. Hmm.
I I definitely agree. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, for those who have not had, I'm going to hold the bottle up again,
Yes.
had have not had Sip and Share, you have this 7 series.
Yes.
And this is I have the gratitude, but can you talk a little bit about this series and what's the 6 other bottles that are included in this series? And I
Yes.
kind of figure out the inspiration, but if you can share with people, that would be great.
So there's like love and we have gratitude and we have abundance, manifest, intention, conjure, awaken. I think I got all the words.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to give people well, two things. Wine labels for people can be hard to read. And again, no one wants to look unintelligent. So no one wants to go somewhere and they're trying to struggle to read a wine label, especially in a language that they don't understand.
Right.
So we wanted to take away that barrier. And we also wanted to give people something to think about. So our wines, they have the names. We also have the colors that are associated with them. And so you could get it because like you just want to do gratitude. You want to try that. And it's like,
Hmm.
oh, but we wanted them to be inspirational, affirming, and just give you that like just sense of warm energy
Okay.
when you purchase them and when you drink them. So maybe you need some love in your life, which happens to be a white Zinfandel. And so you're
Hmm.
like, I'm going to get some love. And so a lot of people do end up choosing. They're like, I don't like Chardonnay, but I bought Manifest and it's really good.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it's just to get people to start thinking. And again, black and brown people, we are grounded to our higher self, something higher than ourselves typically. So
Hmm.
this is that way to also just honor that as well.
Right. Right. That is that is great. So you took the big leap in 2019 to do this full
Yeah.
time, and which is more than a notion.
Oh yeah.
More more than a notion,
More than
guys.
an ocean. Ooh, more than an ocean. Woo.
And but you know what? It doesn't from the outside. It doesn't appear that you are looking back at all. And you have a few new projects on the horizon.
We do. We will be kind of relaunching our culture can. So we didn't kind of do the launch we wanted. So we have canned wine, 4 different cans. They do not. It's not the same thing in the bottle. So it's 4 totally different wines.
Oh, okay.
So we have the People's Pinot Grigio. We have Majestic Moscato, Royalty Rosé, which is an off dry rosé, and then we have Solidarity Sweet Red. So, so just really fun wines. Again, think spring, summer,
Right.
and we'll just really be rolling those out. Hopefully in some larger venues, but they are available on our website right now as a 4-pack. But when we go out and around, they'll be available in the can. And we do have one other product coming out this year. I can't quite speak on it. We just got the label designs done, so I'm like, yes, almost done, because they're waiting on me to give them the flavor profile for the actual label. But yeah, so we've got some fun stuff coming, and hopefully we plan to be in DC in the fall
Oh,
of
good.
this
Okay.
year. So in Maryland sometime, I think late summer, we're hoping. So we're back on the road again, traveling around, because that's what we do. We go and pour for the people. So I know we're going to be in Atlanta. We'll be in Pittsburgh and somewhere else. Somebody just sent me a thing for. I know we'll be in North Carolina as well this year.
Well, let me know when you're going to be in Maryland or the DMV, so we can do like a meet and greet. And
yes.
Yeah, we can definitely do something like that. So, is it hard to ship the cans? Can people? I know you said they're online, but is it?
They are online. No, we put them in a box, so in a small box, and ship them to you. So it's a cute little box, and the guys on the team, they pack them up really, really nice. David, my partner in wine, is serious about packing, y'all. So when you get these really nice things that are packed up, it's all David. People are like, "Oh, you packed?" I no, ma'am, I didn't. He stopped letting me pack stuff a long time ago, because I'm like, I'm gonna pack this box, and I mean, I pack them nice, but David is like.
No, it's with care. When when I got the wines, I was like, oh, this is like, there's a little extra inserts in there. Yeah.
They are serious, right? They are like they're like nothing's gonna break. And when we get something broken, they are just so distraught. Like they are like, we need to call. I mean, they are ready to fight somebody, because they're like, no, I know and I'm just like, yo, that's why we just do the thing, and just go do the claim. But they are like so serious about this wine when something happens to it. So yeah. So we take pride in everything, y'all, from because we do it all. Like, it's just a small team of us, but we do it all.
Well, I think that's good. I think that's exceptional.
Yeah. And we enjoy it. Don't get us wrong. Most days, except when people do crazy stuff, and then I'm like I just tasted through a whole bunch of wine yesterday, and I'm like, what are y'all on? And they were looking at me. I'm like, why is this wine still in the tank? It's not in a barrel. They were like, we knew we were supposed to do something with that wine. And I'm like, just 72 gallons of wine sitting here, and y'all didn't think. And they were like, So still working on processes and procedures and getting everything right, but it's flowing.
That
is growing. I say it's growing, not growing pains, but just growing situations.
I feel you.
Yeah. Areas of opportunity is what I call them. They're just areas of opportunity.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. So, you had mentioned that like the Gratitude is a great sipping wine, or it's your pizza wine.
Yes.
What we also carry the Abundance.
Yes.
And carry Conjure.
Oh yeah.
Which is not in, those two are not in the club. So if you were interested in purchasing those, you do not have to be a part of the club to get those, but you do to get Gratitude.
So
what would you pair with those two wines?
Conjure is the cookout wine, y'all, because you got to bring something to the cookout. And what you immediately do after you open it, let it breathe for a minute. and then you give some to whoever is actually cooking. So, what we're going to do, we're going to drink some and it's good. And we're going to sprinkle some on whatever is on that grill. So it is that it's just, to me, it is, it can be drank anytime, anywhere. Again, it is also a good food wine, red pasta. What do I usually do? What do I usually eat that with? I drink it by myself. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's the Zinfandel, right?
Yeah, it's a Zinfandel,
It's
right?
the Zen.
It's a Zen. So I'm trying to think, what have I had with that lately? I actually, the last time I had it, I had some vegan chicken. And so I had that. And then there's a new vegan burger joint where we live. And so I went and got one of their burgers, and it was outstanding. So if and you don't have to be plant-based to enjoy our wines. I'm a pescatarian, so I go back and forth. But I would say some salmon would be great with it. But anything red, any red sauce based, what would we probably, what I've been told is really good, because I stopped eating chicken 3 or 4 years ago. Chicken wings. But I stopped eating chicken because I like chicken wing, and I was going to turn into a chicken yow. I ate chicken wings like 3 times a week. And I like craft beer. So I not only ate chicken, I had craft beer and chicken. So I did chicken and beer. And so that was my consistent thing, about 3 times a week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, to be specific. So I gave up chicken.
You know what? I have to say, I am not judging, because I am a big chicken wing person, and I gave up fried food, which meant that I was giving up chicken wings unless I can find them grilled, but it's hard to find.
Very, very hard.
So I just gave it up. But yeah.
Yep. So I just do I do plant-based. I've done plant-based chicken, which is good. But I be looking at them chicken wings, and I be like, and I just gave it up for just my personal, no reason, just personal health reasons, to just get my health together. But yeah, and I would say the abundance. So the abundance it's red as well, but it's like a blood orange. So again, it's a great, you don't need to necessarily pair it, but it could be good for a salad. I make it into a sangria, so I pair it with fruit. Is that?
Oh, that is really good.
I pair it with fruit. Yeah, just put a whole bunch of fruit in it. I freeze it and make it into popsicles, and cut up my fruit and freeze it. And I also make it into ice cubes for people who like to put ice in their wine. I am not opposed to that if it's wine icicles. So when it melts, it's just the wine melting into the wine.
So, okay, wait a second. It actually freezes?
Yeah, wine freezes. You've never left a bottle of wine in your freezer and it's exploded?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so I have on many occasions, unfortunately.
I guess because of the water content, because I will put I don't like to put, I know this is sharing, but I don't like to put ice in my vodka. Ooh. So I keep a bottle in the freezer.
Yes, in the freezer.
And it doesn't freeze, but it gets this nice syrup consistency.
Yes. I do that with tequila.
that I like. So because I have a wine fridge, I'll just throw stuff in the wine fridge. But it's I didn't think, I guess because it is, wine is made up of water, yeast, and So
right. And it's like 90% water. And that's true. If you don't have a wine fridge, and say somebody brings something over and you want to drink it.
And you want to do, a quick
right.
chill.
And I tell people 10, 15 minutes in the freezer usually works. Or you can get a bucket, put some water and ice and a little bit of salt. And spin the bottle. But I usually will just 15 minutes. And now I've learned to set my timer on my phone, because I have left wine in the freezer and I've come back and you got to clean it up. But yeah, it to me, it's just a fun fruity wine, and it's that summer patio pounder. Yeah, it is super, super fun.
Do you add, when you make a sangria, do you add brandy to it or any type of spirit?
I add tequila.
Okay.
I add tequila. Mhm. I do. I add tequila to
I'm
pretty
not
much
mad at you.
almost everything, y'all. Um, tea. I drink tea, tequila. But I like tequila, gold tequila, and that was my when pandemic first happened and we were going to shut down. I
Hmm.
did my partner and I. He's a tequila drinker, so that was the one drink we could agree on because I can't drink vodka. He
Hmm.
doesn't drink rum. I don't drink gin, so we narrowed it down to tequila was the thing we could drink together outside
Okay.
of wine, and
Okay.
we drank through all the different tequilas at Total Wine. Like that was our. I mean, everybody did great
That's,
things during the
uh-huh.
early pandemic. Y'all, we just tore up our livers. We just decided to
Oh, that is.
and learn Spanish, y'all. Okay, so and learn Spanish.
Did you really?
We worked on our Spanish. Yeah. My goal is to get my Spanish better. I speak a lot of languages in menu. I am bilingual, but I do speak a lot of languages because my mom used to live in Japan, speaks Japanese.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Germany, so my dad did most of his tour. He was in the military, grew up,
Hmm.
did 3 tours of Germany. And then my brother and my children speak Spanish and Mandarin Chinese.
Okay.
So I will have a multilingual family. But my daughter has a lot of Latino friends, so I am getting my Spanish up. So my brother and I who speak Spanish, he calls me in Spanish now. That's like our thing.
That's good. I mean, that's the only way that you can
Got to
learn.
have
Yeah.
conversational
Yeah.
and because my goal is I don't ever really want to go to Mexico. It's never been on my list, but my daughter went to Cancun and I was like, you should do the tequila tasting. So now I
Mhm.
want to go to Mexico strictly to do a tequila tasting because she brought me back tequila that's not sold in the United States. So I literally
Mm.
want to go. I just need like a 3-day trip just to go taste tequila, and then I'm good. I'm come back to the States.
See, I want to go to Baja, to
Mm,
the wine country there. So, cause it's on the other side. And so one time, and
right.
so quite honestly, I did ask a trip advisor, a tour guide, to put together a package. And then
Ooh.
she came back with this package, and I was like, I can go to Europe for how much she was charging me for this package. So I was like, let's put this. And then the pandemic happened, so we put that on the back burner.
Oh,
But I would love to go to Baja, California, and
yes.
do, because in addition to the several vineyards there, they have wonderful resorts and spas
Yes.
and
Yes.
in that area. And then I could throw in some tequila anytime.
Right. So but I mean, you're so close. You could just see that. Then you could just go down,
Right.
figure out where close tequila tour is, and come back. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's the only reason why I want to go. I just want to go for the tequila. Just I have Mexico's never just been like on my I want to go to Mexico tour.
Right.
Like not ever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
No.
right. Yeah, and I have no rationale for that. Well, I do. It's my own personal crazy. Like they want to steal me. And yeah, I know it's my own personal crazy, y'all. Like
You hear the stories, right? But I
right.
always say, I was like, they're gonna take one look at me and be like, she don't have no money and she old.
I
They
see.
gonna
I
pass
get that
on that
too,
one.
but my daughter told me like the crazy that was happening, and she said, "I now understand why people go missing,
Oh
and how easy it is to take someone." Like she was like the folks that were just like freely going with people they didn't know,
yeah.
and she was like, and just the amount of alcohol that's flowing, and she was, and that, so that's why I was like, "Ooh, see, I have to have a chaperone."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I don't need to go to Mexico. Yeah, it's not them, it's me. I admit it. It's me. It's not them. It's me.
Well, Nicole, I know it's hard to believe, but we are almost at the end of our hour. Um, please, please tell people how to find you.
So first of all, you could always call the wine concierge to get some wine. That would be your first stop right
Great
there.
answer.
That's
Great
where you go
answer.
first. And she can connect you to any of the Sip and Share wines. However, you can also reach us at sipandsharewines.com. That's our website. And then we're at Sip and Share Wines on all social media platforms. You should follow us around. We've got some fun stuff coming. We talk about where we're traveling, where we'll be pouring. So I think we kick off festival season officially at the end of April.
Okay.
And then we'll be moving around the country. I know we have an event happening in Atlanta. I think it's April 25th ish. I have to check that, but we will be putting all those dates. We'll start putting stuff out by month coming soon.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say I am grateful for you being a partner and a supporter of the Wine Concierge. You were one of the first people that I reached out to when this crazy idea happened, and you didn't hang up the phone, and you actually returned my email. So thank you very much.
Yes. You know, I am a life supporter, Queen says. Like, we're going to rock this thing out because we need more Black and Brown folks in this business in all areas and all aspects. Because once we can break this 1%, of Black and Brown people, especially winemakers in the business, then people will begin to see that we are here to stay, and that this is a viable form of livelihood for us. And so that's what I want to see this. I can't wait to see the beyond the brown estates, because I tell people literally we only have about a 30-year modern Black wine history. And
Mm-hmm.
Brown Estates is the only multi-generational Black owned wine company. So I would love to see more, multi-generational, I can't wait, I may not be here, but, that fifth generation, so and so company is
Right.
around. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm hoping that we get into this business to do, and not just make a quick buck.
Yes. Yes. Well, in the wine business, you don't make a quick buck,
Not
but
at all. People think you do, but you do
no, not at all. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on Wine Lovers Wednesday. Again, our spring collection will be on the streets literally tomorrow. If you want to know about the club, please go to the Wine Concierge, the Shades of Vino, and it is Women Run the Vineyard theme,
not.
all women winemakers or owners for our collection. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a little bit of something for everyone there. And again, thank you, Nicole, for joining us, and have a great evening, everyone. Take
Yes.
care.
Thank you. Happy Wines Day. Take care, Queen Sis.